Good day, folks. This is the great Judy at Green Pastures Farm. Today we're doing a little silvopasture savanna type work. We've got a dozer in here clearing out some of the unwanted trees. The landowner, this was logged severely probably 15 years ago, and they took all the really marketable white oak out of here, left a bunch of stumps, a bunch of tops, and then the inferior bur oak, black oak, pin oak, stuff like that they left. And so what we did is there's some young white oaks coming in this canopy, so we left some of those and thinned them out. They were way too thick, the small ones. But we, this is an oak that was right next to this tree right here, and it was a double. And so we were able to knock it down. I've got some lumber here. These are 12-inch diameter, which, you know, you want them bigger than that, but it's either take a log out or push it down in that draw and make firewood out of the top. So we're actually able to get some 14-foot logs here. Those are 14 feet long, and because we have our own bandsaw mill, I can mill some lumber out of that. I'll probably cut it into like an 8-footer and a 6, but I like to leave them long because I can grab that whole log with my grapples on my tractor and just pick it up and set it on a trailer. So you don't have to grab it twice. The ends, the tops of these trees, we've got a whole pile up here. I'll go show you here in a minute. We've actually taken and got shiitake mushrooms. So before we would have cut that top up into firewood. Well, you can only use so much firewood. And what if you could grow food on that same tree? So I'm going to show you the ideal size that we shoot for as far as cutting shiitake logs. But Jan and I came in here and tied ribbons on the trees that we wanted to keep. And then we just had Johnny lay the ones that weren't marked on the ground last night. So he's working over there today. We're in here getting out our logs. We're getting out the shiitake mushroom logs. And anything that looks like it might make some decent firewood, we'll trim it up and pull it up here on the hill, where we can put that into our firewood stack. So basically what Johnny's going to come back in here and do is just stack the limbs, the small limbs down here in this draw, for a bunny, what we call bunny habitat, just to have a place for the bunnies and, you know, coyotes, mice, all that stuff to make a den in to survive. So we're going to work, we're trying to get enough sunlight down in here to get some grass in here. So this winter we'll come in here with our great Judy bale unroller, and we'll unroll hay in here, and we'll have, you know, 370 head of cattle on this ridge for one afternoon. And we'll probably roll, you know, 5 or 6 big round bales in here. And so we're taking this leafy area. You can see here, see what we're growing? We're growing moss. So we're going to take moss, which is a completely fungal dominated soil, and bring in the carbon, which is the hay, followed by biology with the cow manure and poo. We're only going to be on this for maybe 8 hours, and we're gone. So we're going to inoculate it with hay. We're going to put the poo and pee down and then let the animals do the work. I wanted to show you some of the trees that we kept down here and the spacing. Okay. So let's go on down.
So you said, why did we take this tree down?
Well, this tree was too close to this one.
And? This
was going to make a pretty good market tree, probably in the next, I don't know, 7 to 10 years, assuming it doesn't die. Folks, there's a black oak disease that's hitting a lot of the black oaks in Missouri, all through the Midwest. And so, you know, if it dies, we'll go in here and we'll cut it and we'll get the lumber out of it before it rots. So we're always watching for black oaks that die. Get them. Cut that thing down, get the lumber out of it. Don't let it just sit there and rot away to nothing. Some of the black oaks are doing fine, but it seems like this disease is hitting the black oaks worse than it is the white oaks. That's a nice tree. We had a double here that wasn't ever going to amount to anything. So we got one nice tree now. We've got a really nice area here. Once Johnny gets this all cleaned off, it'll be easy to come in here, put hay down. There's not going to be any stumps. Those are still fastened onto the tree. What Johnny does is he grabs that stump, he raises it up in the air, 12, 14 feet with the high lift, and he drops it. And when he drops it, all the dirt comes off. When he goes down to that draw, there's hardly any dirt left on that stump. So I've been on a lot of farms where people didn't do that. They just pushed the tree out. You got a great big hole in the ground, and
that's what the previous landowner did here.
That's what the previous landowner did here. He didn't know what he was doing, folks. that pasture up there, you don't want to go very, even on a four-wheeler, it'd almost throw you off. The guy did not know what he was
There's
doing.
huge divots out there.
Huge divots. But what Johnny has done is he took those root balls that had all that topsoil on them. They've been dead 15 years. He kind of roughed them around, got all that dirt off them, and then he pushed that root wad down in here. So we've got the topsoil now. It's back up there on that hill. But, you know, it's just because the other guy didn't know what he's doing. Johnny's excellent at his craft, and we're so fortunate to have him.
So why do we not want doubles?
Well, when you have a double tree like that, they just never amount. You're not going to get something like that because you got two stems competing for the same amount of moisture. So you're going to have a lot better, faster growing tree with one stem on it versus two. And it came down to, do we take that one down or do we take this one down? I picked out the double stem one. You know, we've hosted the Missouri Agri-Forestry School here many times, and they really go after those, the double stems. Get rid of them, get them out of there, leave you a nice straight stem. And it's got a really nice crown now exposed to the sun, where this one before that we knocked down, it was crowding that crown out, and it was capturing a lot of the solar energy. So this tree couldn't grow very well. So let's go look at some of the ones that we did keep.
But guys, this ground feels like a garden. It feels like it's been plowed. It's nice and soft now after Johnny's knocked the dirt off these roots.
So what we do is we come in and we tie ribbons around the tree that we want to keep. Johnny can see that on the bulldozer. We've already taken all the ribbons off these trees. These are the ones we're going to keep. See a pretty nice white oak there. There's a young white oak behind it. Here's a couple nice white oaks over here. Again, the white oak is the money tree here in the state of Missouri. There's a couple big black oaks back there, some red oak. We left them. I see one there that it's actually a red oak. It's pretty close to that black oak. We're gonna have to make a decision on that one. They're about 8 feet apart. That's way too close. You can see the previous landowner, he clear cut that ridge back there. There's not a tree left on that ridge. And there's this great big double stem black oak right here in the middle of it. I took it out. The landowner, he's got a little brush hog, and he's got a little tractor. He wants to be able to keep this all clean in here. And I'm like, you know, kudos to you. That's just gonna help us. Because once we get hay on this, and we might put a little lime in here just to kind of get the ground where it's not so sour. Because I'm sure it's very acidic, because we saw the moss on there, so we need to get that changed. But starting out, we're just going to unroll hay, and we'll get a lot of seed from that hay. But you see here's the shiitake mushrooms.
What kind of logs are these? What kind of trees are these?
These are black oak.
Because you can tell by...
So you just tell by the bark. The bark, that's a black oak. There's pin oak. There's bur oak.
Is that pin oak there?
That one might be. Yeah, it is. Well, look over here, Jan. Yeah. That's a pretty gnarly. Look at all the limbs, how gnarly that is. I had an old timer, folks. He used to call those coon oaks. I'm like, why'd you call it a coon oak? Oh, he said it was a nightmare. He said if you treat a coon in there, you can never find it. I mean, you look at that at night, you're trying to find one up in that tree, it would be a nightmare. But here, this is as they would call a coon oak right here. So that's about the perfect size. That's a 5-inch diameter. And I've cut them all the way down to 3.5. So this 3.5 log will produce a ton of mushrooms. It's just not gonna last as long as this bigger one. But folks, I did learn a valuable lesson. If you go much more than 5 to 6 inch diameter, you don't really get that much more mushrooms, and you're carrying a lot of weight. I mean, they get heavy. We cut all of ours 4 feet. Most people cut them 3 feet. I like them 4 feet because when we stack them up, they actually go like this, teepee style, like that. So we'll have a rod all the way, like 20 foot long, and we stack them teepee style in rows of 20 feet. It works really good. You got to cut a green tree. You can't be using a dead tree. The green trees, you like to cut them in the fall. This is going to be a good experiment. I've never cut them this early when the leaves are still on them. Most of the leaves have fallen off, but this particular tree had leaves on it. The directions on anybody that grows mushrooms say, well, it's better if there's no leaves on it. But then in the same breath, they said that they went and cut logs every month of the year. And those logs produced every single month of the year. The ones in the fall without any leaves on them actually produced a little more mushrooms. But you know, we got the trees down, we're gonna use them. We're not gonna push them down in the draw and not get anything out of them. So we've got a beast up here. Jan, you wanna come look at it? This is a perfect saw for cutting. I love this saw.
And we're getting no money off of steel, but this is what we have, all steel chainsaws.
Yeah, I mean, there's some other ones out there, but this is the professional model. It's called the 261C. It's got the anti-vibration on it. So when it's running, it feels like a sewing machine in your hands. I love a short bar. I don't want an 18 or 20 inch bar on here. There's no way. 16, even a 14 inch bar. You can wrap faster with a short, and you let a short bar and shorter teeth. You're not pulling so much teeth through the wood. Yeah, so it's very compact. I mean, this little saw weighs maybe 10 pounds. It's really easy to take care of. And boy, I mean, it really gets with it. And it's easy on gas. The bigger the saw you get, the more weight you're packing around. And it burns more fuel, plain and simple. So let's go down and look at this monstrosity. Okay, so here is just another double. Oh yeah, I'm gonna get a really nice 10 footer out of this one. Let's look at this one. This has got a little bit of a bend in it. And when you push it over, it's got a crack to right there, so I'm gonna have to cut it off right in here. Okay, so I can get a 6 footer. I can get a 6 footer here, and then it goes straight down through there. I can probably get a 14 or 16 footer. This one I'm gonna get 2 8 footers out of it. It keeps on going. And when we get all that cut up, then we're gonna cut some mushroom logs. Folks, there's gonna be a lot of mushroom logs down in that tree. All that limb wood that we would cut into firewood, we're gonna be growing food on it. And it's amazing. I mean, once you get them inoculated, folks, that log will last you 7 to 9 years. Every year it's gonna grow food. One of my favorite places to get mushroom spawn is Field and Forest. And here in Missouri, the one I like the best is the wide range, WR46, wide range. And so what that means is it'll produce mushrooms all through the year. It warms up a little bit and it's got the moisture, boom, you get mushrooms. So this particular mushroom may give you mushrooms 4 to 5 times a year, which is pretty cool. So we like eating mushrooms, we like cooking with them, I like giving them to friends. Jan cans them, she dries them, she sells them. It's another product. If you're gonna be doing some of this, you might as well get some income out of it, you know? So,
but let's show them the dirt ball that's not on this thing.
Yeah, so you can see there's a little bit of dirt left right here. Johnny shook this, and here's all the dirt from it back in here. So he shook it real good, and as he pushes that, when he takes off with it, he'll shake it one more time. Folks, there's not any dirt on there to speak of, so I'm not taking dirt on the hill. And another thing he does, when he does leave a hole with a stump, he grabs the hold of some dirt and pulls it back over the hole. If you got someone just running and gunning, pushing trees and not filling in holes, you're gonna have a wreck. I mean, it's just gonna be a mess. So you'll be able to ride your foiler in here, unroll hay in here. Heck, if you wanna come down to your pickup and cut your load of wood on a dead tree, you can do that too, because you're not gonna have to deal with the stumps. So I'm excited about this little farm. We never got a lot of grazing off of it. We are now. We're going to probably
Double at least.
at least double the amount of land. Folks, land selling for $4,000 to $5,000 an acre. If you can get more acreage just by clearing up some brush that isn't really doing anything for you and turn it into a savanna or a silvopasture, shade, food, and shelter. That's what we're dealing with here, okay? So with that, I think I'm gonna sign off, but we got some work here to do, Jan and I do. And we'll see you all later, but hit that subscribe button on the way out and that like, I'd appreciate it. And you all have a good one.